Hey, now just turn the video on. How's it going?
Hey, thank you. How are
Hang
you?
on, I can't hear you. Can you
Yeah.
hear me? Oh yeah, yeah. Now we're on.
Look at your
I'll just
setup. What a dream.
move that out of the way. Oh, this really isn't the setup. This is kind of like my office is over there. Um, but this is actually my like living table or whatever, dining table. But because I can actually clamp my microphone on, it's too small in my little office to do it. So yeah, how are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. How are you?
Oh, good, thank you. It's
Nice.
nice and early for you.
Yeah, it is. It's 6:45 in the morning.
Do you usually wake up early?
Yeah, I'm a proper early bird. I'm like a half five, 5:45.
Oh, give me one sec. This is
Yeah,
just
that's fine.
falling off, and we don't want that. I moved the clamp too much, and it's just you probably can't hear.
What's the weather like where you are?
We're going into winter, so it's kind of I don't know. It's nice days. It's about 20. I think about 22 today.
That's lovely,
Degrees.
isn't it? I think it's like 12 here.
Oh my gosh, I would die. I'm so
Let me,
I
let me check. Oh, yeah, 11.
fixed it. That's yeah. Nah, I couldn't cope. Because
I
are you
know.
guys in winter or
No, we're in spring. So,
spring? That's spring.
yeah.
Oh my god. I'm wearing a jumper. It's like 22 degrees. It's probably like summer for you.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah. You all good though? How's life? How's training? How's everything?
Yeah, everything's really good. I had a lot of events the last 2 months, so I've just been kind of in all sorts. Just you know what it's like when you're running a business and you've got a lot of social events. It's just you've got to take days off work, so I've had to prioritize a few things over others. And yeah, I'm a creature of my own routine.
Oh my gosh, me too. Yeah. I'm exactly the same. If I get thrown out of my routine like a little bit, I can deal with a week or two, but by
Yeah,
the end of the second week, I'm like,
yeah, yeah. And do you know what though? I was saying this to some clients this week. I was saying like because a client had a similar situation, and I said, you know what? It's actually a reflection that we actually really enjoy our life and what we're doing. Because if if I was like, oh yeah, I love just distract myself from my life with all these events and stuff like that, that would be a reflection that I don't love my life, but I love my life.
definitely. Do you ever feel like external influences sometimes make you feel as if you shouldn't? I sometimes get like the vibe that I'm like, should I should I enjoy my work as much as I do, or should I love my life as much as I do?
Um, no, to be honest, I just want everyone else to be able to experience what I experience.
Yeah. Do you feel like there's a different culture maybe? Because like I feel like where you are, it's so much more like loving your life is so much more like normal and desired, whereas in the UK there's still like that hustle culture and like work, 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 and
Ma-
if you have a day off, it's all right for some.
Maybe, yeah, yeah, maybe. I feel like maybe Australians are known to be a little bit more about that lifestyle balance,
Yeah.
even though a lot of us struggle to find it. I always struggle to find it, but it's because I enjoy what I do. But yeah, I just think that as well, people will look at us who are doing what we love and we love our work and everything, and to think that we're privileged or think that, oh, you're so lucky, your job's fun for you, whatever, or it's a habit, it's a hobby for you as well. It's like, well, no, like we've put in the work to be able to do that, to be actually be in this position and took action.
Yeah.
And people who are in their 9 to 5 job, not enjoying every day and, hanging out for the weekends, than the ones not making the changes to yeah.
Definitely. And do you think it's getting into training that helped? Obviously, I know training's sorry, I'm just going off on one now, but obviously I know training's like a big part of your life and obviously your job. Do you think when people get into training, it gives them a bit more of a new lease of life? So even if they are working in a 9 to 5 that they hate, do you think that actually
Yes,
training gives them more?
absolutely. I think that like when it comes to confidence, like a lot of women in particular, you would know, like find their confidence through training because they are achieving something they thought that they can't achieve. So then they get that confidence to then transfer into other areas of life. That's why I've got a really big emphasis on confidence with my girls. Like if they can improve their confidence, that's like the best achievement I want them to achieve. Because it's gonna, and that's been the case for me, particularly gaining. I wasn't as confident as I am, not nearly as much as confident as what I am now back in the day, but through time and consistency, that's why I've been able to like just go for it or go, yeah, I can do that, whatever. And that's, yeah, I think for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree. Now, I know from when we've chatted before that you have lost your period before when it comes to training. And oh my God, we haven't even done like a full formal introduction. I feel like everyone will know you because when I put it out on Instagram, like the
Oh,
box
this is
where I
recording.
ask questions, it
Sorry,
was,
I didn't even know we were recording, but go for it.
oh, sorry.
Because I just joined.
um,
Hey,
Yes,
we've
do you want
started
to
off
do
great.
a real quick introduction? I mean, my best mate Zoe could definitely do a banging one for you because you are her goals. She was pumped when well, she's the first one that introduced me to you, and she just loves your training style. If she hasn't already, she is joining your. Um,
I think I did with Zoe on my academy.
yeah, probably Zoe Sokolowski.
Yeah, okay, that rings a bell.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So you're obviously an online trainer, but you've also got a gym, right? You do.
Yeah, so pretty much. And by the way, I didn't know that we're recording to begin with. And sorry about the microphone situation. You
No,
may
no,
want
no.
to.
Sorry, I should have said. I just always press record straight away because I find that we always have like such good conversations.
I
before we press
agree. Yeah.
record. And then I
And
thought,
you know
well,
what else?
there's bits that I can edit out. If there's bits that you don't want in
Yeah.
it, I can just edit them out.
Oh, it doesn't bother me at all. But yeah, it's funny that you said that because when we were just having those little chats, I was like, we should be recording this. This is a good chat. Because
Yeah.
I do the same when I do my podcast. I think, oh, let's just like leave it and like just have an organic chat about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so what do? I obviously am mainly an online coach. So I work with a lot of women around the world. I do have different platforms in which I do that. So I have some clients that work with me on a one-on-one basis. So they do like a weekly check-in with me. And with those clients, it's really lifestyle coaching. Like obviously I want, them to be also achieving their health and fitness goals, but sometimes I can be doing check-ins and just be talking about their mindset or how they're feeling with their confidence or stresses in their life and stuff like that. So it's really kind of like wholesome type of coaching. I don't think some people would look at me and think, oh, she'd be really strict and she'd be like really, just all for the athletic goals, but really that's not me at all. And then I also have a studio which I sub-rent with another trainer. So it's a private studio. So it's just me and my girls, and they're 3 nights a week of groups of 10, small group strength and conditioning classes for women. It's the Glute Academy as well. So it's like the face-to-face Glute Academy. So I've got another trainer that takes 2 nights for me, and then I take 1 night, which is awesome because I love to be hands-on with, obviously the girls in the studio. And I love training people like in person still. Like I still love that aspect of coaching. And it ensures that I'm able to like keep up with, experimenting with different exercises or different methods of whatnot, and be really hands-on in the studio with the girls. And then obviously I have my online Glute Academy as well, which is like a monthly subscription program. I wanted to design something that was a little bit more affordable and more accessible, but still with that education that I bring to my the one-on-one based online clients. So that was the whole motive of the Glute Academy online, because you know, I'm sure like anyone who's listening who may be an online coach, you know, you're putting in a lot of effort for your services. So your price is reflective of that, but not everyone can afford that particular price for a one-on-one service. So, and obviously I wanted to help as many people as I can. So having a service that is more so suitable for, you know, a lot of people's budgets, you know, only being $45 Australian a month, but still, you know, aligned with my values and like kind of morals with coaching. So I don't just give them program and see you later. There's a lot of education that's involved with that, and obviously technique feedback and all that type of stuff too. So yeah, I pretty much just help women feel good about themselves, lift heavy and feel strong.
Yeah, that's sick. I love it. And I feel like on your Instagram, like that fully comes across. I love your educational videos. Absolutely love it. And then when you do your stories where you're like, when you're in the gym with the girls and you're like fully hyping them up, I just love it.
I am such a hype girl, but I love it.
When I'm in Australia, I'm gonna have to come and visit.
Girl, you are coming for a sesh. I will hype you up.
Okay. So talk to me, because you're obviously in like such a great position now in terms of, I saw your post the other day about that comparison with like maybe not having as much muscle, but you're living your life now, and you're obviously doing, you know, like we said earlier, you're really like, you're feeling really fulfilled in life. That hasn't always been the case when it comes to training, right? You lost your period, right?
Yeah, so I've lost my period many, many, many times. So pretty much the last year and a half, I think it's been, I've had a regular period, and that's been like a record time pretty much for me, having a regular cycle, which is pretty crazy because I am turning 28 in June this year. So to think that this has been like a record for me to have my period for this amount of time regularly is like obviously a good reflection with the time that I've invested into learning about my body and learning about what like hypothalamic amenorrhea is. But yeah, like obviously I was very sporty growing up. So, you know, from a young age, when I first gained my period, when I first got my period, it was so sporadic then, like you'd go away for 5 months, come back. It just was never regular. And I just thought, that's just my cycle. I didn't know any different. But back then, even though I wasn't doing any of the bikini comps that I got into when I was in my early 20s, I still was extremely athletic, very like a lot of exercise and quite lean back then. So I still obviously struggled with hypothalamic amenorrhea in my younger years without knowing, because I just thought that was normal. Yeah, so that's kind of where it stemmed. And then obviously I got into doing competing in bikini when I was 20 years old, which is a very young age to be putting your body through such an extreme thing. Those who may be listening, I'm like definitely not into that type of vibe anymore and haven't been for quite some time. It's funny because I'm very anti it, but you know, I have done 5 seasons before. Wow. And I don't regret. Yeah, I did 8 comps.
Wow.
Yeah. And like, I don't regret it because I've learned so much. And I feel like with all that, like everyone has a story. I was talking about this with my physio yesterday. I'm sure you'll agree, Chloe. Everyone has a story, and no matter what silly mistakes you make or what crazy experiences you go through, that makes you you, and that gives you tools. I believe like I've got so many tools, and I've got a really strong mindset. I'm a really strong girl, I would believe, so I can help others to not.
Right. What's your? I'm just gonna quickly go off tangent here. What's your view on, because I have had a couple of conversations about this recently and I'm so sat on the fence, right? You know, this whole intuitive eating movement, and we're seeing a lot of like, don't work out if you don't want to, that sort of like movement. It's completely different to the body positivity movement. It's just more of like this intuitive movement, I guess. I'm noticing a lot of people that are now talking about this and just have all been through something similar to us, whether they overtrained and lost their period, or whether they competed, or whether they tracked for 10 years. And I sit and think, that's all well and good telling someone to only intuitively eat, because you went through a load of shit and you went through the extremes for years. So you know how many calories are in a chicken breast. You know how to eat so what's your thoughts on that? Because I don't know where I stand with it.
Yeah, so like with the whole intuitively eating and like body positivity vibes, I'm not a massive fan of labeling anything. Like,
Yeah.
I just think it's the fitness industry is just so like it's very misleading. There always has to be a label and everything.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
not into labels. That's why, like, yes, it's on a sexy sell just to be like, just, gain education. And if you feel like tracking calories and macros will help you gain education. I'm really big on flexible dieting in terms of tracking macros and calories as a form of education.
Mm-hmm.
And none of my clients are restricted at all. I get them to send me cocktails on the week, photos of cocktails on the weekends, and give me their reviews to cocktail bars. Like, none of my clients are restricted at all, and they all know that I don't track my macros now. I don't pretend that I'm like this fitness queen that's like tracking their macros, and and I'm just not about, don't need to do that for the long term. Yeah. So when it comes to like your question in regards to what I feel about that, I just think like there's always going to be a label put on everything to make it into something, that's like fancy type vibes, but I don't think it needs to be like that. Like, I think for sure what you said, like, it's easy for me to, I don't track my macros. I haven't counted my macros in 2 years, but I have I tracked for like 6 years straight, and I have really good habits and behaviors that have been installed in me. So I can maintain my weight, from just eating, based on what I feel like, or, what I just kind of is in my habits and behaviors. Whereas someone else may not have that education as me. Someone may not have those good habits and behaviors installed like I do. So it's two different things. So I think, it depends on what, the person's goals are and their mindset as well. But I just think there always has to be a bloody label. Get rid of it.
And I guess, like, if you are from a background similar to us and you've lost your period and you're trying to get back, you don't need to keep tracking if you are obsessive over it and if it's causing you anxiety. And,
Absolutely.
if you've tracked, you probably know a good amount of education anyway. So give yourself a break from it and try to eat intuitively.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And, if you've tracked, you're going to be able to just quickly add things up in your mind. Like, I haven't tracked for 2 years. To be honest, I don't really think I'll ever track again. Like, I just don't feel the need to. Like, but I do track my protein in my head sometimes, because there's sometimes like, oh, I don't think I've got enough protein, and I'll just quickly track it up in my mind, based on what I've had, and like, happy days.
So can we go back? Sorry, I went on a tangent. Can we go back to so you competed, and obviously your period was a bit funky then. What happened after the competitions?
So I started, like I said, at the age of 20, and I went through, I think I did 4 or 5 seasons competing in bikini. And I obviously got extremely lean. Like, if I'm doing something, I'm doing it 120%. So I was very lean. I wasn't like one of those bikini competitors who just was like, lose a little bit of body fat. Like, my last prep, I lost 12 kilograms, and I was like extremely lean. Looking back, like, it's not healthy at all, and like I would not put my body through that now again. But so I'd lost my period for about, each time I'd lose my period, and that was probably 4 or 5 times throughout my time competing, I'd lose it from like 7 to like 11 months at a time. So like, I wouldn't get a period for 7 months or 11 months at a time. So essentially, I probably had my period half the time I should have had it in my lifetime because of all of that. And then regaining my period back, as you know, Chloe, is, there's a lot of misleading information in regards to how you should go about doing that and what is healthy. So, I went to doctors in my earlier years. I used to think it was cool. I used to think, oh, I'm an athlete. Like, I'm so fit, I don't have my period. Yeah, 100%.
From my side, I just,
and that's what people
abnormal.
talk about.
Yeah, so we're actually looking at it as in, like, I know athletes, it's common for them to lose their periods. Cool, I'm an athlete.
Well, I was told by doctors that, it's just because you're really athletic and you really fit. Like, I always was very lean growing up and very sporty. I did sports just like who I am. But you're like, it's the mindset that, I was in, because I go hard when I do things. I put 100% into it. And I was like, okay, like, it's, it's kind of a bit cool. Like, I definitely wasn't flaunting it around, but you know, I wasn't concerned because I was so young. I didn't even think about, you know, wanting to have kids or any of that, or wasn't so concerned about my health back then. I was like, these are the goals I want to achieve and I'm going to achieve them. And that's just the mindset that you get in, because when you are competing, for anyone listening, like, it's not healthy. And people don't talk about this, and I'm just so open and honest about it. Competing, you are literally doing you're having a structured eating disorder.
Yeah,
It's as
that's such a good
structured,
way of putting it. And I often find
and it's structured eating disorder habits that you're installing within yourself along the journey.
yeah, I often find as well when people are trying to get their period back and they're aiming for like a certain amount. I I didn't know the words, but I feel like that's how to describe it, is like, instead of shifting your eating disorder to constantly trying to cut and constantly trying to lose weight, yeah, eating an X amount of calories to try to get your period back might help you, but is that just shifting your eating disorder another way?
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to come down to, like, you know, the habits and behaviors at the end of the day. Like, you know, the habit that I was creating when I was doing those comps was, you know, I need to lose X amount of body fat to, like, you know, you're used to like seeing the scale go down. So you're used to wanting to see the scale go down because you're used to assessing the way that your body looks, because that's all part of the monitoring systems in place to do that. And I do have a very good mindset. So even though in my early years, you know, my mindset definitely wasn't the best, and the last prep, my mindset was still really strong, but still you fall back into those, you know, unhealthy mindset, you know, thoughts and feelings because of the extremes of the sport. So yeah, it is what it is. And as I got, you know, probably the last 2 seasons, I was a lot more kind of concerned about my period obviously not being there.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, okay, if I'm committing to doing this competition, then like I need to actually prioritize the recovery and be a little bit more strategic with how I'm going to regain my period back sooner rather than later. And that was something that I kind of accepted, that I would have to go through that. And I knew it would be challenging because I knew I'd have to gain body fat back. And I knew being in that mindset after being in the comp, being so lean, going to, okay, you need to actually gain body fat as soon as you can, essentially. I knew that would be tough, but it's just something I accepted.
Yeah. So what were there any noticeable differences that you had when you didn't have a period compared to now that you do? Obviously, I know like gaining weight, but did you notice any like symptoms in terms of like skin or digestion?
Heaps. Like and actually, I don't know if you've heard of Dr. Nicola Rinaldi.
Yeah.
I think I've told you about her. Definitely check her out. Like, she's amazing when it comes to, she's like the queen of like periods and like hypothalamic amenorrhea. But yeah, I pretty much, and we did a podcast together and she went through like a lot of the common symptoms. I literally had like all the symptoms. So like hair loss, obviously your fatigue. So I'm a crazy person. Like, I honestly, and that's why like I'm, you know, I can maintain a pretty lean physique, because I am crazy. I move around crazy. I talk with my hands. Like, I can't sit still. When I had the hypothalamic amenorrhea, I was a lot more kind of still, like even going for a walk is a lot of energy. Obviously my sleep wasn't very good because, you know, my body was hungry, and you wake up in the middle of the night hungry. My digestion was horrible. The last prep that I went through, after it took me like 4 months to like regain proper digestion, I was having extreme bloating and whatnot. Obviously the libido, it goes down when you're you're not getting your period, which isn't great. And yeah, just moody and just like not, I don't know, just not feeling like pumped for life.
Yeah. And so obviously now that you have got your cycle and your training, what does like
Yeah.
a typical sustainable day look like, or week look like, in terms of food and training?
Yeah. So something that I learned about myself, and for those listening, if you're maybe trying to regain your period back or you don't have a regular cycle or whatnot, like, you need to learn about your body. And obviously with hypothalamic amenorrhea, it's stress induced, and not just stress from exercise or being at a low body fat percentage. it's also stress from obviously, maybe trauma or just, additional stresses from day-to-day lives and whatnot. For me, I realized that obviously the big contributor to me is actually stress from exercise and obviously being in low body fat percentage. So at the moment, I train weights 3 days a week. I'm not training as intense as I was, previously. I've learned to listen to my body a lot more. So, if I'm feeling a bit beaten up from training, then I take an extra rest day, or even though I'm only training 3 days, so it's pretty easy to do a rest day, or I just, don't progress with my weights as much as I would kind of before. Like I go, oh, I'll just stick to the same weights and I'll progress next week, whatever. So I'm a lot more conservative with that. And, I do have quite a high activity level, you'd say, because I do work online. So and I'm that crazy person. So I usually walk every day because it's fantastic for my mindset to fill up my own cup first. It's like my non-negotiable.
Yeah,
Have to go for my morning walk. It's the best. And then I bike ride often too, but it's not planned cardio. I don't have any planned cardio. And it's like, that's the fitness industry as well. Oh, is that your cardio, your walk? It's like, actually, no, it's for my mindset. I just enjoy walking. And like, I love bike riding because it makes me feel good. So I bike ride. So I don't train for certain like athletic goals nowadays. I train more because I like to feel strong. And then I do the extra exercise because that also makes me feel good rather than, oh, I'm burning X amount of calories.
And how long did that mindset take to shift?
Well, I think it's just been like just lessons learned over the years. And I think as well, like obviously I was injured straight after my last competition. And 2019 was a really horrible year for me mentally because I had been training and I love training very high intensity. I actually love it and I thrive from it. I love routine of it. I love to push myself. It's just who I am. So going from that, like being like, training for the comp and being like so on point with it to then like coming out of that injury, coming out of that season with a really bad injury, obviously forced me to like reevaluate my training and the importance of my training, you would say.
Yeah.
So even though that the first year of 2019, the injury I'm still recovering from, it's 2021, but it's getting there. But that first year, I kind of fought against the mindset, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. And then, I think last year was fantastic with COVID, like just having like a reset and like me going, I actually prioritize my own needs more. And like the gym's closed. I love that. Like, and I thought, oh my God, the gym's closed. I'm still alive.
And you guys weren't even in lockdown for that long either, were you?
Oh, girl, it was only a couple months, like nothing comparison to you guys. Yeah. So like nothing to complain about. And I've got the hip thrust bench on my balcony. I'm sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just think lessons learned, and I've kind of realized what's most important in life. And training used to control my life. Training used to be the main priority, whereas now it's a positive addition. I love to go out for cocktails on the weekend. If I don't feel like training, I don't train. I don't stress out about it. But because like something that I say with my clients, and you've probably heard me say this before, momentum will work both ways. So that momentum that I created in my past with my mindset was, if I don't go to the gym or don't stick to my program, like I'm going to regress, or, those sorts of mindsets. Whereas now I'm like, no, like each time I like maybe, just want to think about how I'm feeling rather than what I think I should be doing. Yeah. It's gotten easier to like, just have training as a positive addition, not the main.
Definitely.
Force drive.
Yeah. And do you think that you're able to train and eat the way, so maybe even training three days a week? I know that you do that in your academies. I think you have like an additional fourth as well, right?
4 days.
Yeah. So do you think you're now able to train 3 days a week because you set the foundations? I know you were maybe in comp or like verging on like so like focused. Do you think that because of those boundaries and because of those foundations that you laid, you're now able to train like that? Or do you feel like people that are just starting out can go in and train straight the way you are?
I think for sure, like it can't, what I say all the time is like quality outweighs the quantity. Those people who are training 6 days a week, they're going to the gym 6 days a week to tick it off their list.
Yes.
Okay. You can see them, their technique's not good. They're just thrashing themselves to make them feel like they've done a workout. They're probably not having a balance between like good nutrition throughout the week. They're probably binging on the weekend, restricting themselves through the week. You know, it doesn't need to be like that. Training's a positive addition. And I always say to my clients, like, you can get better results doing 3 sessions or 4 sessions in the week when you're actually, you know, prioritizing your recovery on those other days and making sure in those 3 or 4 sessions your effort level is 100%, the quality is on point, and you're actually training with intention rather than just ticking it off your list. And I used to see that when I trained people in person. They'd just come in through their PT. This is why I got into online coaching, because you find people are more driven to get the results, and I'm a results driven coach. And they will just come in to do pay for their PT session, pretty much to tick it off to make it feel like they've done it, but they're not doing all those other lifestyle factors which contribute to you seeing results. So yeah, like I think for sure, like I've got heaps of like a lot of the girls in my Glute Academy class, even, I don't know if you watch any of them, Yasmin, she's like my OG girl. Like she trained with me 2 days a week. Her body has transformed completely. 2 days a week, and she's been consistent. She's probably missed 3 sessions in like 3 years.
Wow.
And she kills it.
So someone that has or is in recovery or is post recovery now, would you recommend, you know, doing your approach 3 to 4 times a week? And how do you feel like they should approach training and food?
So if they're trying to regain their period back?
Yeah, or even if they're post. So I guess that's kind of like, so they've got their period back.
Well, I think it's really individual. Like it's hard for me to like give like, you know, just a straight answer with that. It's going to really come down to individual. Obviously mindset and mental health comes into it. Whereabouts are you with your mindset? That's my first thing I think of is, you know, someone like me, like I'm pretty happy if I'm a little bit thicker. I'm pretty happy if I'm a little bit leaner. I'm pretty positive about my body, you know, throughout the fluctuations. Maybe someone doesn't have that type of mindset. So, you know, maybe you know, they want to just focus on getting their period back and maybe, you know, somewhat monitoring their calories if that's what they're comfortable doing, but just ensuring they're getting enough. So I think it's going to really be case by case. But I think, you know, if you don't have your period back, then you need to be thinking about some stresses that may be, you know, also incorporated with that situation. So tracking your macros and your calories can also be a stress. And that's what people don't like to talk about because, you know, I'm preaching macros to people, but it can be a stress. And, you know, maybe that's time to take it away and focus on making sure you're feeling fulfilled from your food and ensuring you're getting an even balance of obviously the macros and good nutrition within your diet and eating enough calories to fuel your body. And then with your training, you know, take away the cardio. If you're doing crazy amounts of intense cardio and, you know, thrashing your body, you know, that's a stress. You know, a lot of people think, you know, training is going to help you with your stress. Training actually is stress on the body, whether we like it or not. It is a good stress most of the time, but if you are not getting something that you should be, which is your menstrual cycle, it's a part of, you know, the body. We need it to, you know, recreate. It's kind of necessary. Then we need to be looking at those stresses which are maybe contributing to that. So, you know, I was doing a lot of cardio with the preps. So like when I stopped doing those comps and was working on regaining, I took all the cardio away. I just went for walks because it was good for my mindset. And obviously stripped back the training intensity. So I just trained like 3 days a week. So yeah, like you want to maybe reduce your training volume, make sure you're eating enough to fuel your body, and also think of ways in which you can help to improve your mindset and decrease some of your stresses, which may be, you know, contributing as well.
I love that. Right. I know I'm conscious of the time, but everyone is going to lose their shit if I don't answer some of the questions that they sent in for you. So if we'll just do them as like quick fire, just try and get through some of them. Okay, number 1, how can I tone my glutes without making them bigger but smaller, if that makes sense?
How can I tone my glutes without making them bigger or smaller? Okay.
I feel like they want small peachy, not big booty.
Okay, so first of all, toning, so you want to make these short and quick. Toning is simply just reducing body fat, gaining muscle. Okay, so there's no like exercise which is going to allow you to tone. Toning is just stripping some body fat off and gaining some muscle. So, you're not going to have a really PHAT, fat
Yeah.
booty, unless you've got a lot of body fat on you. So a lot of people think that by doing all these extreme like glute workouts and whatnot, they're going to get this massive booty, which is obviously they're seeing the girls who have surgical enhancements with these massive fat booties. That's probably not, you probably don't need to worry about it. I would just say, just make sure you're hitting all main movement patterns of your glutes, progressively overloading and making sure your technique is on point. And as always, make sure your programs is specific to those goals. So you may want to have like a high glute frequency, but not like an extremely high glute frequency throughout the week.
Yes, love that. Thank you. Is it possible to lose fat and build muscle at maintenance? So toning up, but not losing weight.
Yeah, so it's going to come down to your training experience and age. So if you're a beginner, and I'm actually thinking I'm getting some newbie gains at the moment from reloading. If you're a beginner, you've never trained before, you don't have any strength training experience before, you've never really tracked your macros and that before, you can be in the best position to stick at maintenance calories whilst transform your body, which is what we call body recomposition. Okay, because you will be gaining muscle and probably stripping some body fat in the process of that while sticking at maintenance calories. So if you're a beginner, you're going to be in the best position to be able to achieve that. But for sure, you can be sticking at maintenance calories. And this is I don't have an aggressive approach with my coaching. I wish I was selling all these shredding programs, but I can't do it. It just doesn't suit me. But you can absolutely build muscle at maintenance calories and improve your overall physique if you stick it at maintenance calories. It may be a little bit slower when it comes to building muscle as opposed to being in a surplus, but if you're not necessarily looking at gaining much body fat, or you don't really want to be gaining much body fat in the process of building muscle and improving your physique, then you can absolutely stick at maintenance calories and build muscle and improve your physique for sure.
Love that. Okay. So what is best for optimal and best for the body in terms of number of exercises in one training session?
There's no magic number. It's going to come down to the quality of your session. If you do 3 exercises, 2 exercises, 5 exercises, it's going to come down to the way that you execute the session and the effort you're putting into the session rather than the magic number of exercises. So there's no wrong or right. Make sure you're having a balanced amount of obviously hitting all main movement patterns for upper and lower body throughout the week. And focusing on having good technique, applying progressive overload and putting in solid hard effort, then that's what you should be prioritizing, not the magic amount of sets, reps, exercises.
Love that. Okay, finally, and I feel like I know your answer because we've already spoken quite a bit about this. Best cardio to weights workout rate. So would you say, I feel like we know, right? Let's reduce the cardio and just lift.
Best cardio. Wait, what was the question?
So if you're looking at a workout routine over a week, what would be the best weights to cardio split, ratio?
Okay, it comes down to your specific goals. Okay, if you're wanting to improve your cardiovascular endurance, and you may be wanting to add in some cardio. Okay, you always are going to be, if your main goal is to improve your strength and physique, then you want to be prioritizing the strength training and making that the main priority. When it comes to cardio, there's nothing wrong with adding cardio in. Obviously, if you're trying to recover from your period, then no, you do not want to be adding in a lot of cardio. But if you do want to add in some cardio because you enjoy it and maybe you're wanting to improve your cardiovascular endurance, then add a cardio choice in that you can recover well from. And that's not going to take out some of your recovery from your weight sessions, because you want to be recovering well so your training performance can be on point for your strength sessions, so you can work towards improving your strength and body composition, and not just being beaten up because you've done hill sprints for days. And then so specific goals is going to come down to that, and always prioritize obviously strength training if that's your main goal, and choose a cardio choice that you can recover well from if you do want to add it in.
Yeah, love that. Beth, thank you so much. Where can people find you?
Just on my Instagram, really. It's Beth Clare Fitness, and then there's a link tree there which has got everything that you need to know. All the links.
Yeah, and guys, if you are listening to this, please go and watch Beth's videos. They're so educational, but also just the way you talk us through them all, you're like, oh yeah, that makes so much sense now, I'm gonna go do it. Whereas I feel like sometimes educational videos can be so like, oh Christ, why do we need to know that? Do you know what I
You
mean?
know,
Where
it comes down to some trainers just try to,
fluff it up.
showcase. They just, it's too much. They're trying to, come up with all these extreme ways of explaining things to show off how educated they are. The average person doesn't care. They just want to understand how to do it. So I just try to make sure that, and I've learned that over the years with coaching, just want to explain things so that whoever's watching is going to be able to understand it and then just, improve whatever that thing is without trying to make myself look like I know all these fancy languages and whatnot.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. Thanks for taking your time out to come and chat to us. It will be on the podcast and YouTube very soon. So yeah, I'll ping you a message when it's all live and everything. But thank you so much, and I'll speak to you soon.
Fabulous. It's been a pleasure.
Mm-hmm.